So we will be focusing on these few topics today, right? Here you will be able to observe. We will start our today's agenda with a focus on that why there is a need of using AI in healthcare domain. Then we will talk about that what are the current technologies and methods which are being used in this domain. Then we will talk about the real world case studies where I will share my own research paper as well with you all. At the very end of our discussion, we will talk about the ethical challenges which this domain brings up and the road ahead. If anybody is interested in this domain, what should be the career path uh, that person will choose and how they can progress. So I hope you all are excited with me to start this discussion. The very first thing is why, we are having this domain of AI in healthcare. So, what's the reason behind that? Any guesses? Anyone? What is the need of AI? What is the real motivation of AI in healthcare domain? Batao. Time saving, that's true. So, doctors' time will automatically get saved when we have the machines which are helping the doctors to diagnose the patients effectively to make the predictions, right? So if you will be able to observe, time saving is one of the important aspect, that's true. We will be able to get definitely uh, faster results because we have machines nowadays. We can definitely get faster results from that if we are applying effective models inside that. Somebody has mentioned real time monitoring, which is a very good aspect actually. So nowadays it's very easy. We have the machines available at our home as well, and we can real time monitor what is our BP, what is our heart rate, how much is our stress level, what is the quality of sleep, with the help of AI inculcate in that. Drug discovery, very good. This is another interesting application uh, in the healthcare domain. Yes, that's true. So I hope that everybody, can observe that these are the major factors. Maybe there are few more, but these are the important factors because of which this specific domain is really important to understand and how it is working internally, right? So why, what is the real motivation of having an AI in healthcare? I can say these few points are the real motivations, right? Definitely. Now, if you will talk about why you guys should focus on this specific domain of healthcare, what is the reason I'm saying that you guys should feel motivated if you really want to pursue your passion of AI in healthcare? Why is that so? The very first thing is growing of or the growth of, I would say, healthcare data. I hope you guys will agree with me that as we progress, the diseases are quite huge. It's very sad to say this, but I think that's the reality. Do you guys agree with me? Nowadays, like few years back, if we will see the times where we see our grandmother, grandfather, they have very less diseases. But nowadays, even the young person also facing a problem of stress, anxiety, BP, diabetes, cancer. So the healthcare data has increased drastically. Be it any sort of data I'm talking about, definitely the growth is there. And whenever the growth of data is there, because of that, doctors definitely faced a lot of challenges. Doctor faced a lot of challenges because still doctors are limited, but the healthcare problems are quite huge. Healthcare data is quite huge. So doctors face a lot of challenges about time constraints. They have to take care of every specific patient who is coming there in their clinic, right, in their hospital. Because the data is quite huge, patients are coming, you know, in the early morning till the night. So it might be the case that if they will do in a faster pace, as a human being, they can get error. So there might be diagnostic errors, which they might do. Due to large data volume. And that is the reason why, if we will be having the machines which will, save our time, which will provide the faster results, and I would say faster results, that too with accuracy, I should mention, which can do a faster monitoring and help the patients to get an idea that just now you should go to the patient and get admitted. That will definitely cure them early, which will help them to find a suitable drug for individual patient in a personalized manner. So that is where obviously the demand is, right? And this demand will keep on increasing, I think, when we proceed in 2026, 27, 28. Because what I'm observing is that nowadays the sleep quality, the health quality, the eating habits of people, it's getting deteriorating, right? You guys will agree with me. Nowadays, the young people, young children usually go out in a hostel. The quality of food is very bad. Then, even though if the quality of food is very bad in the hostel, they eat outside. Nutrition is not there. The problems are quite huge, and that's why the diseases are quite huge, and that is why AI is coming up. Now, okay, we got the motivation now that why there is a need of AI in healthcare. But what are the key technologies we have? What are the methods we have in data science? In the world of data science, we are talking about. If let's say I want to go into this specific field, what are the techniques which I should know, right? So that I can definitely able to handle the projects of AI in healthcare end to end. So let's talk about now this specific second agenda of today's discussion, right? Where we will discuss about what are the core technologies we have for AI in healthcare. So today's main focus will be on AI in healthcare. So I hope everybody knows that in data science, we have different set of domains. You might have heard about a domain of machine learning. Can I get confirmation? You might have heard of a domain of deep learning. You might have heard of a domain of natural language processing. And to be very frank, in all of these domains, we can deal with the healthcare data. Now, it depends on what is the type of data that you are dealing with. Let's say you are saying that I'm having a data which contains numerical values. So let's say you are saying I'm having a data which contains numerical values. Let me give you one simple example. You can find this data almost everywhere. Data of diabetic data, where let's say I will provide you the patient's record of BP, their BMI, their sugar level, their insulin level, whether the patient is pregnant or not. Let's assume that that's a data of a female. So in that specific case, if the lady is pregnant, how many times she had pregnant in the past as well. So considering all of those factors, you have to determine that whether the currently the patient is diabetic or not. So it's a classification problem, right? Where you are dealing with either the patient is not diabetic or you are dealing with the patient is diabetic. Have you guys seen this data prior to this session? कभी देखा है आपने? It's an open source data available in machine learning, and you can definitely use a ML domain. We have a lot of models to work on this, but the very starting model, which you must have heard of, is logistic regression, which is simply used to do the, I would say, classification task and help us to determine that whether the patient is diabetic or not. So you can apply a machine learning based algorithm where you will get either the output as 0 or the output as 1. Why is why is the output, which is 0 or 1, the target value, given X, which is the input features I have talked about, maybe BMI, BP level, insulin level, sugar level, pregnancy. So all of these things are the input features. So machine learning is basically used in the healthcare domain for the prediction purpose. तो अगर आपको किसी भी बीमारी को चेक करना है कि क्या वो बीमारी उस पेशेंट में है या नहीं, so you will always go with this machine learning based techniques. So majorly ML is being used for the prediction. I hope it is clear to everyone. Then we have a domain of deep learning. We have the architectures in deep learning. We have a convolutional neural network based architectures. जैसे मे बी कुछ नाम है आप लोगों ने शायद नहीं भी सुने हो, हेल्थ केयर के अंदर काफ़ी फेमस है. These architectures, UNet plus plus. You might have not heard of these architectures, but maybe after this discussion today, you can go ahead and explore these architectures. These are the architectures which are very frequently used in the healthcare industry. These are the CNN based architectures. अब इसके अंदर आप क्या करते हो? Especially in deep learning, you will be dealing with the image based data. तो या तो आपके पास CT scans होंगे, you might be having a CT scans, you might be having the MRIs of the patients, you might be dealing with the X-rays of the patients, and your main task in the deep learning based space will be to diagnose the problem. To diagnose the problem. So if, let's say, I will provide the input data as CT scans, so can you give me or can your model can give me the idea that whether that CT scan contains a cancerous cell or not? So if I'll provide you a lung CT scan, whether that lung CT scan is having a cancerous cells or not. So it is majorly used, for example, to detect the tumor, right? Detect the tumors. So if I will try to share with you, one of the very interesting tasks which we can do in deep learning is image segmentation. Have you guys ever heard about this technique, image segmentation? Do you know what is the meaning of image segmentation? No? Let me showcase you one simple example. What does that mean? And I'll take this example from my own research so that you can relate it in a much better manner. Just give me a second. Let me open the research work which I have done. So can you see this pictures? So this was the research paper. You can see it is published in IEEE conference. In fact, if you will search on the Google, I do think you will find it very easily. Priya Bhatia IEEE research paper. So you will find the very first link of my research paper. Once you go there, you will get that wherever it is available, right? So this is the research paper I was talking about. Now, let me go back to this research paper. This is a research which was done on the CT scans, the example which I am taking up right now. Now, in the CT scan, I hope you all remember the COVID. No one can forget this actually, right? So that was the time where I have done my research as well. Back in 2021, I think, the COVID happened. In India, that was at peak, right? In January 2021. So basically, at that point of time, I was having a data set of COVID patients. Now, what you will observe that the people who are suffering from COVID, their infection inside the lungs contains these white spaces. Can you see this picture? So if I will just try to showcase you what I am representing over here, which you can see from here, ground glass and consolidation. Can you see? This is a small white portion area and this is a bigger white area. So usually in our lung, we should have a simple, a black sort of area. If we have this white spaces, it's not good. And the people who were suffering from, the COVID, they have more this whiter area. So if we have a bulk of white area, we are calling it as a consolidation. And if we will be having a smaller set of white area, we are calling it as a ground glass. Now, what is the meaning of image segmentation? The simple meaning is that your model should be able to detect, if you will provide these CT scans, this ground glass or consolidation at the end of the day. I hope you're getting my point. So basically, you have to train a model and create a model in deep learning, which will be able to detect this ground glass and consolidation. And if any person is having a consolidation in their lung, it means that that specific person, that specific patient will have to admit, and we have to treat them as early as possible, because that is something which is a very bad thing. Now, if you will go and observe over here, I have applied that unit architectures, which I was talking about. You can explore about this architecture. So here you can see, this is the result which we were getting. So what is the meaning of image segmentation? We are discussing about that. So I hope you can see over here. You can see over here, this is the input test data that we will be having, patient data. Now, what we are doing over here, we are just trying to get the region of interest. This is what we call as region of interest. Because our main focus will be on the lung area. We are just extracting the lung area from this image. And now we are applying the models. We are applying two models over here. One is unit plus plus, another one is capsule networks or segcaps. So here you can see we have this result and this result by two different models. This white area, now you can see, right? Your model is detecting this. So what will happen is, once we have these models ready with us, so at that point of time, the data was taken from a Jaipur hospital, and IITH has done the collaboration with the doctors. That's why we will be able to access the data as well. So what I'm trying to convey over here is that, this is the internal intuition behind image segmentation, where we are trying to segment the area which is having a problem. So whatsoever volume of ground glass or consolidation we will be having, if the volume is huge, if the area of that bad portion is huge, it means that that specific patient is in a critical condition. And we have to, or doctors have to treat them on priority as comparable to the patients which are having low volume of this ground glass or consolidation. Similarly, if you will be able to observe a very famous problem of tumor detection. Nowadays, it's very sad again to say that, but many people do have tumor, right? So tumor detection. In deep learning, you will be able to detect the tumor using this image segmentation. So, or let's say cancer detection, deep learning. Image segmentation. Now here you can see, right? Here you can see. Can you see this green cells? Let me showcase you. These green cells. Can you see? This. Might be this is the cancerous cells we will be having. Obviously, I have to check the research paper. But definitely, this is the input image that we will be having. And via the deep learning models, we have to train the deep learning models in such a way that the models automatically able to detect the cancerous cells available. So you can see these green cells are the cancerous cells. which is actually helping the doctors to say that, okay, this person might have a cancer. This is a manual segmentation, means this is done by doctors. So obviously, when you are training your model, you should have a label data. So you should have a labeling so that your model will be able to learn from that patterns. And this is something which is done by your model after learning. So majorly what I'm trying to convey over here, that in the diagnosis part, deep learning is very famous. We have different sort of techniques in deep learning to help overall, you know, with the help of these convolutional neural networks to diagnose any sort of diseases in the healthcare domain. Right? Now let's talk about the next domain, which is NLP, natural language processing. So as I told you, if you are having a numerical data, if you are having a numerical data, we have ML based techniques. When you have a image data, for example, CT scans, MRIs, X-rays, you should know about deep learning. And when you will be having a textual data, now what is the use case for that? What is the use case for that? Textual data. Maybe you want to extract the information from doctor's notes, from doctor notes. So obviously, you might not be able to extract the important information. You can create one model which will be able to extract and give you the important information. Yes, like prescription, you can say that's true. So in that specific case, obviously, we should have an understanding of NLP domain, natural language processing, right? Maybe if you have this domain knowledge, you can definitely create a chatbots for symptoms checking. Maybe you can, I think we do have nowadays websites also and apps also where you can just write what the symptoms you will be having, and automatically it will be able to generate the prescription for you, right? uh, there might be a drug interaction checks. So all of these will be possible only if you know the domain of natural language processing. So NLP is important whenever you are dealing in healthcare textual data, where you want to, let's say, extract the important information from the doctor's notes. So that is where NLP domain you should know in healthcare. Now, apart from this, also, AI is being used in wearables nowadays. For example, this watch, which I'm wearing, many people also do have. I hope everybody at least have seen the watches, Fitbit, we have Apple Watch. So basically, this category is a separate category in the healthcare, which is nowadays very trendy, wearables and IoT data. Nowadays, people are a lot more conscious. They really want to continuous monitoring of their steps, right? Their heart rate, their sleep quality, and that is easily can be done with the help of this watches that we will be having nowadays, right? So, do you use these watches or the Fitbit app in order to check the number of steps, how many times you are drinking your water, your food meal, your sleep quality, all of these things, right? Any apps are you using or any variables you are wearing for that? Anyone? Yes or no? Webfit, okay. Watch, ठीक है ना? So this is the another domain that we will be having. Perfect. So these are the core technologies which we will be having for AI in healthcare. Now, in between, someone have said that, hey, I want to become a data analytics person. So if I want to become data analyst, did this discussion is actually helpful or not? The answer is yes. The main important, you know, work of data analyst person is to get the insights from a data. For example, we are talking about these watches. So what is happening is when you are doing a movement, you are taking the heart rate, stress, all of these things will be monitored. And maybe on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, if you want to explode your graph. So actually all of this summary will be created by the data analyst people. The main job of data analyst is to analyze the data and maybe create wonderful dashboards or create wonderful reports from that data or the reports from the data. So obviously, healthcare domain is not limited to AI or data science. Obviously, there are many data analyst people who are working in the domain of data analyst as well. It all depends. If you are dealing with the healthcare data, you will become healthcare data analyst. And again, many people are hiring for this specific position as well. So in that sense, again, this specific today's masterclass makes a lot of sense, right? The example which I have shared with you with respect to the CT scans, with respect to the tumor or the cancer detection, this is where it is helping the radiologists. Everybody knows who are radiologists. Everybody knows who are radiologists. अरे रेडियोलॉजिस्ट के बारे में कैसे नहीं पता? रेडियोलॉजिस्ट डॉक्टर्स ऐसे डॉक्टर जो कि स्पेशली एक्सरे सीटी स्कैन्स एमआरआईज और अल्ट्रासाउंड पे वर्क करते हैं. सो यू कैन सी इट्स अ मेडिकल डॉक्टर स्पेशलाइज्ड इन डायग्नोसिंग, समटाइम्स ट्रीटिंग द इलनेस यूजिंग मेडिकल इमेजिंग टेक्निक्स. तो जब हम ये बोल रहे हैं कि इन डीप लर्निंग इट इज हेल्पिंग अस टू डू द इमेज सेगमेंटेशन टास्क, so this specific field of deep learning is actually helping the radiologist a lot, helping the radiologist a lot in terms of giving a faster diagnosis, for example faster cancer detection. तो इससे होगा क्या? और यही चीज हुई थी कोविड वाले टाइम पे, व्हेन वी विल बी हैविंग टू मेनी सीटी स्कैन्स. इंडिया में इतने रेडियोलॉजिस्ट नहीं थे जितने जितने स्पीड से कोविड पेशेंट्स इंक्रीज हो रहे थे उस टाइम पे. और इसीलिए इफ यू रिमेंबर द डायग्नोसिस वाज कंप्लीटली रॉन्ग मैक्सिमम नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. मतलब जो लोग कोविड नहीं थे उनके रिजल्ट्स भी बहुत बार ऐसा हो रहा था कि पॉजिटिव आ रहे थे, और जो लोग एक्चुअली में कोविड पॉजिटिव थे उनके रिजल्ट्स बहुत बार नेगेटिव आ रहे थे. तो एरर काफी ह्यूज अमाउंट में हो रहा था बिकॉज वी हैड एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम lesser radiologists available in India. So the point is, in those situations, actually these AI based machines help the doctors out. मतलब एक अर्ली डिटेक्शन हो गया एआई मशीन से, और उसके बाद सेकेंड लेवल पे डिटेक्शन हुआ डॉक्टर से. ऑब्वियसली यू माइट हैव हर्ड मेनी पीपल यूजुअली से कि मे बी आफ्टर फ्यू ईयर्स these AI machines will replace completely the doctors. But I don't think it will never happen. It will ever happen, right? Because these AI machines will really help the doctors to diagnose things faster. It's like these GPT platforms that we will be having nowadays. It's actually helping us to write a code in a more faster manner. It's just that the doctors who are quite aware about these specific fields, they will be able to do the things in a much faster manner. Maybe previously they were treating, let's say, one patient in, let's say, 2 hours. Now they might be treating three patients in a 2 hour. So the frequency of patients treatment will get increased because of the help from these AI based machines, right? Maybe uh, so one is the radiologist wala part that we have discussed. Second, maybe thing will be that people might be able to get a personalized medical treatment. So it's very important, right? Because everybody is different. Everybody have a different sort of genetic profile. Everybody have a past history. And as per that person, they should get the treatment. And because of these AI based machines, if we will be able to successfully made it, things are going on. There is a lot of research which is still going on. But once we have a proper accurate results, these things will definitely be very, very helpful. Nowadays also we have this personalized medical treatment. Radiologists are also taking a help from AI, but still the researchers are working in order to make these things in a more efficient and an accurate manner, right? And COVID-19 may how these things were helpful, I already have talked about. I was a part of that specific space. It's a good thing. So that is where, from these case studies, I think you will be able to understand that how it is actually be a game changer in the world of healthcare. Is this clear till so far, whatever I have covered up? Any doubts, anyone? So these are the core technologies that we will be having and the methods that we will be having in the world of healthcare and the real world case studies, where I have talked about the cancer detection part. I have talked about the COVID-19 data part. I have talked about how a person will be able to take benefit by having a personalized medical treatment, right? Now, the next part is the ethical challenges, right? So okay, we have talked about that there is so many interesting things we will be having in this space of healthcare. Now, the next thing is, do we have any ethical challenge in this space of data science, in this space of healthcare? So let's talk about challenges now. Do you think we do have any challenges? Any idea? Any guesses? The very first challenge in this domain is data privacy. Exactly. Patient sensitive data. Somebody has already mentioned. It's not that we can share the information of patients publicly to everyone, nor any person want that. In fact, if you don't have a proper collaboration with the doctors, you cannot even access patients data. If you will go today to any hospital and you will ask that, can you give me your patient's data, do you think they will give you? No. It's ethically wrong. Until or unless there will be a proper documentation signature happen, proper agreement will be made, and that's where these things will be designed, right? So data privacy is one of the most biggest challenge. We can work on data sets in other domains. We can find multiple data sets available publicly, but you will never find uh, you know any hospital data publicly available. That's the number one privacy concern. Second thing is the biasness in the AI models, which are specially designed in the healthcare domain. Why? Why there is a biasness? The data set is highly imbalanced. We have a unbalanced data available in healthcare. Why is that so? Because you only tell me, if let's say you are dealing with a problem of classifying whether a patient is having a cancer or not. Let's say you are working on a classification problem, be it any problem I'm talking about. Let's say it's a machine learning based problem of diabetic or not. Just few minutes back, I have given you one example as well. Now you only tell me, do you think that, okay, for the people who are not having a diabetic, obviously their ratio is quite huge in the real world as comparable to the people who are having no diabetes. So maybe 90% of the portion of the people contains no diabetic, 10% might have diabetes. So there will always be a imbalancing in the data, and we have to follow some techniques in order to avoid that issue. Ideally, whenever we are creating any machine learning model or any model for the sake, we have to make sure that if it's a classification task, ideally it should be 50-50. Means 50% data should belongs to a non-diabetic patient, 50% data belongs to a diabetic patient. But in real world, that is not the case. So you will always face that issue of imbalanced data, and we have to tackle that in every EDA process of healthcare so that we will be able to get effective results. If we won't handle it, we will always get a biased result, which is more inclined towards zeros rather than ones. That's a second important concern or a challenge for every data scientist who is working in this space. Third challenge will be explainable AI. What is the meaning of explainable AI? 90% meaning, for example, if let's say you are having 1,000 records of patients, so it means that what I'm saying, 900 records ideally you will observe belongs to the patients who are known diabetic. And only 100 records you will find out in the real world which belongs to diabetic. That's the meaning of 90% records belongs to zero class and 1%, 10% belongs to one class. So that's why it's imbalanced. If you have 500 records in non-diabetic and 500 in diabetic, that's where you will say it's a balanced data, where you will have equal amount of records in zero and one class. That's the meaning of balanced versus imbalanced. I hope it is clear now, right? Why? It is quite obvious. It is quite obvious because if let's say how you guys will learn, it's like when I am giving you any problem, and let's say when you are learning about data science, and if I will teach you machine learning maximum times in my sessions, and I will take the sessions of deep learning very less. So at the end of the day, you are a model, okay? Your mind is a model. Will that model will be having an equal amount of knowledge in machine learning and deep learning? Tell me. If I am teaching maximum, let's say I am having 10 sessions with you, live sessions, and in the 9 sessions, I am just teaching you machine learning. Only in one session, I'm talking about deep learning. Can I expect from you that you will be able to have equal amount of knowledge in both the spaces? No, right? You will be biased towards ML automatically. Same thing is happening in this modeling world. Always remember, this AI space is very interesting in a way that it is designed by us. So how we as a human being learn, same thing you can try to imply in these machines as well. Treat yourself as your brain as a model. So same problem which you face, similar problems these models also face. So ideally, we should have a balancing of everything over here as well. Now, third problem which I was talking about is the explainable AI. It's also a very interesting field. It says that if my model is saying that this patient is having a diabetic, the answer is 1. So can I blindly follow the model result? Because at the end of the day, we are risking the lives of human beings over here. It's not something which can come back to us. It's like I always say doctor's job is at the top, right? That's why people respect doctors, right? Now, if we as a data scientist people working in a healthcare space, working in a healthcare based data, now can you just rely on a model? Can you say that if my model is saying that patient is diabetic, I'll say, okay, you are diabetic? No, right? I can't even rely on that. I need some proof. I need some explanation from my model That if my model is saying that the patient is diabetic, can you give me the reason why you're saying so? Maybe it will say that, hey, that patient's BMI value is very high, that patient's BP value is very high, that's why I'm saying so. So we do have a techniques in the data science space where we try to figure it out, that whatever results my model is giving to me, what is the reason behind that, what is the root cause for the same. And that is where the domain of explainable AI comes into picture, right? So this is again a very challenging thing, and people are still working to explore how can we make our model more explainable. For example, this image segmentation is a very good technique to talk about explainability, because whatever results now here we are observing, we can see a proper picture for the same, and we can relate that why it is a cancerous cell. But especially when we are dealing with machine learning based tasks, we should need a proper reason. If my model is saying the class as 0 or 1, right? So this is the majorly three challenges that we will be having in the world of data science in healthcare domain or AI in healthcare domain. What should be the road ahead? So if you want to go into this specific field of uh, healthcare, I would definitely suggest you to start applying for the companies who are specially working in this specific domain of healthcare only. You can get a list from of that companies from Google. You can search. There are few companies which I know personally. They are properly working only on this healthcare based domain. And once you start working in this specific domain, you will find there are a lot of intricacies that we will be having, where like it's not that easy as comparable to other domains. That's what I feel. In between of the session, somebody has said that via which this all these things we will become a doctor. ऐसा नहीं होता, हम डॉक्टर नहीं बनेंगे, because in every part of our stage in the healthcare part, doctors are the ones who will be guiding us. आपका जो भी मॉडल रिजल्ट देगा, आप हमेशा अपने डॉक्टर से कंसल्ट करोगे कि क्या ये जो मेरा रिजल्ट आ रहा है, क्या ये एफिशिएंट है, क्या ये ठीक है, क्या इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है. सो एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, आपका मॉडल का एक्यूरेसी कितना आ रहा है उस पर हम बहुत ज़्यादा रिलाई नहीं करते हेल्थ केयर डोमेन के अंदर. अवर मेन फोकस विल बी कि डॉक्टर कैसे क्या बोल रहा है, क्या मॉडल सही चल रहा है या नहीं. सो योर फाइनल I would say accurate results will be driven by the doctors in the industries. क्योंकि जितना नॉलेज डॉक्टर्स को होगा उतना ना ही हमें होगा कभी, और ना ही उस AI बेस्ड मशीन्स को होगा, क्योंकि AI बेस्ड मशीन्स तो डेटा पे काम कर रही हैं. अब हो सकता है कि दैट डेटा माइट नॉट बी दैट मच गुड, दैट मच एक्यूरेट. That's why it is not giving us best results. So we have to make sure that in every stage of our pipeline in this space, we will be interacting with the doctors, and those are the upfront members whom we can discuss that how our model is behaving. Will that be good or not? That's why in data science industry, domain knowledge matters a lot. और हेल्थ केयर के अंदर आपकी जो डोमेन नॉलेज होगी वो आपके डॉक्टर्स होंगे. In healthcare industry, your domain knowledge will be the doctors whom you can rely with, right? So that's the overall discussion. Yes, कुछ काम आसान कर देता है ऐसा हम कह सकते हैं. That's true. That's true. So now you can maybe go ahead one by one. I can share so many questions available on the chat. So let's discuss this one by one. But before that, if you have any questions to ask with respect to these pointers which I have covered up, go ahead and ask from me. I'll share the doc at the end of the session. Don't worry about that part. So is this clear? Whatever things I have covered up? All good? So what we have seen, why AI is important in healthcare domain. We have talked about several motivational aspects like time saving, faster results with accuracy, real-time monitoring, drug discovery. Then we have seen that, why we should learn about all these things because of the growth of the healthcare data, because doctors face a lot of challenges in terms of time constraint, in terms of diagnostic errors due to large volume of data. We have talked about key technologies and methods in the ML space, DL space, NLP space, and its corresponding use cases. We have talked about real world case studies of COVID-19, cancer detection, uh, diabetic prediction, right? All of these are the examples which we have covered up. We have talked about ethical challenges like data privacy, explainable AI, right? And what else we have covered up regarding the biasness in the AI models, where we always get the imbalanced form of a data. And the further, how can we proceed ahead? So basically, try to apply for the companies where this specific data only, the healthcare data only, will be focused on. Before this masterclass, I was just checking one video was there by the Arman projects in Google, but currently maybe that video is down and I'm not able to get access it. Otherwise, I'll showcase you. It's a long story back, few years back, that Google company was working on that project. But today I didn't get that video. Otherwise, I'll share with you definitely. But there is one more interesting use case which I find out. I really want everybody to go through with this article. Not really sure how many of you knows that. But again, you can see Google licenses AI diabetic retinopathy model to partners in India and Thailand. So basically, how many of you know about this diabetic retinopathy? So due to diabetes, multiple times patients, have a low, very low eyesight. So that kind of problem will come under this category. So they have created a model, AI-based model, and did a partnership in these two countries, India and Thailand. So you can see the tech giant and its partners will work to make AI-enabled eyesight-saving care more readily available to clinical systems across both the countries of India and Thailand. So you can just, go ahead with this article as well, which will be the real-time again use case or the case study or the application of what we have discussed today. Similar to that, a lot of work is going on in this specific field. For sure, you will find starting from I would say this Arman project, which I was talking about, was about pregnancy. So how it actually helped the ladies who are in tier 3 cities to guide them and save multiple lives of ladies, to the project like this, where they are trying to save the eyesight of the people. Everything is just amazing. And the interesting thing about AI in healthcare domain is it actually impacts the community directly, which I really like. So if you really want to do something for the community, apart from obviously money, which you will get when you will work in the companies or in the any of the research works, if you're really interested to do something for the community, it's one of the most interesting field which you can go ahead and explore, right? So this is the overall discussion for today. Now I will be open to take the doubts, the questions, whatever you have.